Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things fandom on this channel and we talk about it in a positive way. If that's something that appeals to you, you know you've come to the right place and we're so happy to have you here today. Today, my friends, is the last Sunday before May 4th, Star Wars Day. So of course, we gotta talk about the future of Grogu in the Star Wars universe. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so with Star Wars Day just around the corner, tomorrow in fact, I thought it would be fun to take a look at Grogu's future in the franchise. Because this is a character that can not only potentially be around for a long time, but has proven already to be sort of this fan favorite that most likely will. So taking a look at his arc and where it could go within the Star Wars franchise is kind of a fun journey to go on. Now, the things that we know currently about Grogu is that he's the same species as Yoda. We all know this, which means he lives to be at least 900. See, the other thing is that Grogu currently doesn't speak despite being about 50 years old or so. And that means that a lot of fans are wondering at what point he starts to speak. Well, Kathleen Kennedy recently said that they're not in a hurry to make Grogu speak. And I'm actually convinced this is a good idea because ultimately keeping him the way he is for a longer period of time does allow for a group of kids to suddenly become fans of Star Wars. They are the future Star Wars fans. And the older generation doesn't necessarily hate Grogu. They seem to like this character as well. So leaving him that way for at least a little bit, knowing how long the species actually lives, is something that I think is a good idea. Now, that doesn't mean that eventually he shouldn't speak, because obviously he should. There is this rumor that in season 3 of Mandalorian, he was trying to talk, but that's just a fan theory that was floating around, that he was trying to say this is the way. Now, they have talked about Yoda having started his training around 100. That means that, Grogu has a little ways to go. And that's kind of one of those things, because Luke Skywalker had started to train him in the Mandalorian TV series and gave him the choice whether or not he wanted to be a Jedi or whether he wanted to be a Mandalorian, and told him to pick one. We, of course, are meant to assume that he just chose to become a Mandalorian. And I do think that he will become a Mandalorian. I believe the Mandalorian is Grogu. And the reason we get this movie called Mandalorian and Grogu is meant to just kind of be this extra hook. They can't call it Mandalorian the movie, so they added Mandalorian and Grogu. That's my working theory, because I strongly believe that even if he takes up the Jedi training again, which I'm almost positive he will, I believe that he will actually take up that Mandalorian mantle as well as be a Jedi in the future. But this film has to perform well. This film has to be the future of Star Wars. It has to be something that fans can get behind. And that means that this movie is going to have to be successful. We also have the Ryan Gosling Starfighter one that is coming out, and that has all sorts of potential as well. But with the Mandalorian and Grogu, it's got to make some bank in order for it to be successful. And the advantage that this movie actually has is that it is a lower budget movie. They didn't spend a whole lot on the budget of this movie. They didn't go overboard like your traditional Star Wars film. So they're relying on the fact that Grogu is going to bring the people in. That Mandalorian and the coolness of the Mandalorians themselves are going to bring people into the theater. And that's not a bad thing to think about either. I do find it very interesting that the premise of this movie is Grogu and the Mandalorian taking out some Imperial bad guys. That's kind of really awesome. And it sounds like it's going to be a nice little action-packed movie. So it just has to succeed enough to make bank in order for the Star Wars franchise to feel as though this part of things is worth moving on. And I think that no matter what, this movie will make some money. This movie's going to be a success simply by having the Star Wars name. So I think we're a long way from seeing the end of Grogu's story. And one of the biggest theories out there is that he is the heir to the Jedis and to the Mandalorians, thereby effectively blending the Mandalorians with the Jedi in future installments. And I could possibly see this happen, but this isn't going to happen for a very long time. Grogu still has a while before he's able to actually do some of the really cool things that would be needed to make that possible. Now, this movie is supposed to release on May 22nd of 2026, and that's also something that's worth noting. It's not May 4th, of course, but it still is in May, and I think that's done on purpose as well, obviously, but the thing here is that we have to realize that Grogu is going to be the future of Star Wars going forward for a very long time, simply for the fact that he is that bridge between the older viewers and the younger viewers. And that's going to ultimately allow them to change some of the stuff up from what the older generation knows into something that might possibly appeal more to the younger generation, and or just be that one cool thing that brings all Star Wars fans together. That's the dream, right? Bring all the Star Wars fans together as one. Bring in the old school viewers along with the new fans and make everybody just happy with the progress going on. I get that a lot of people didn't like the Disney era of Star Wars. Well, we're not done with the Disney era of Star Wars. That is the future of Star Wars right now. But hopefully with the new people in charge of Star Wars over there, we're going to get to something that fans can agree on is really cool. Now, we can all argue over whether or not George Lucas was happy with the final result, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter, because ultimately, after the sequel trilogy, it's now got to move past that. Which brings us to our final question. What do you guys think about the Grogu and Mandalorian situation? The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, is it the future of Star Wars? Do you think that Starfighter coming up will be the future of Star Wars? Would you rather see them move past everything in the sequel trilogy and just go forward with a fresh new story completely unrelated to the Skywalkers at all? Or do you think they should go back and have more of the Skywalker saga? Whatever you guys are thinking, I just want to hear from each and every one of you, so make sure you're leaving me that comment in the comment box below. Make sure you're sharing this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of our conversation as well. Then if you like positive content, you're going to want to let the algorithm know by hitting that like button. If you like our channel personally, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell right next to it so you never miss a single video we do. We have a lot of fandoms to talk about, and at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.